Hey everybody, Mr. Brown here. Today I'm going to just get you started on project 005, ABAB form and drum machine. So with this one, you're going to take what you learned last week with the drum machine, figuring out how to make a beat, and then mix that with what we learned during the first week or two about musical form, where we use the letters A, B, and C for different sections of a song. And we're going to put that together just to see what we can do with that. So for this song, you're going to write a piece of music in ABAB form. That's a thing, and then another thing, and then that first thing again, and the second thing. So A, then B, then the A comes along again, and then the B comes along again. For this, you're going to use loops and the drum machine to create your composition. The piece is going to be 128 bars or more, which sounds like a lot until you remember that the second A and the second B are just copied from the first one. So you have a 32 measure A section and a 32 measure B section. After that, you copy and paste those and you get your 128 measures. For percussion this time, the only percussion you can use is the percussion you write on the drum machine. I don't want to hear any loops that have percussion in them. You can use any other loops that don't have percussion instruments in them. But for percussion, all I want to hear is the drum machine. And in each section, I want at least 2 different drum beats. So this is what I wanted to show you here, just to make sure we understand each other. So in your A section, you have 2 drum beats. In your B section, you'll have 2 different drum beats. So now we've got a total of 4. But then when your A section comes back around again, your first 2 drum beats, because A is the same, will be repeated there. So you still have a total of only 4. And then the second time your B comes along, those 2 drum beats you had in the first B will happen again in the second B. So again, you only need a total of 4 drum beats. So we're looking at the drum machine. Right now I've got 4 different ones written here. 2 of them are the ones that came with it. So I've got pattern A. Pattern B sounds like this. Here's my pattern C. And then pattern D. Cool. So let's assume these are great, which I'm not sure if they're great, but they're going to be what I'm going to use to show you. So I have 4 different drum patterns, 2 and 2. So what I need to do is I need to get those into my project. So I click on the one here. So I'm clicking on pattern A, and down here I click Add A. So that shows up in my project. Well, I'm quite zoomed out at the moment, so I'll zoom in a little bit. That's 1 measure. So if you remember right, I said the section needs to last for 32 measures. Let's say I'm going to have this go for 8 full bars. Then I'm going to add B. Oops, that went in the wrong place, but I can fix that. I'll bring B over here. I'll drag A over there, reloop that out another bar. And then I'll bring this one from 9 to 16. Well, to 17 to end it. And then I can select these, copy, paste, oops, undo. There we go. So that has 8 bars of A, 8 bars of B, 8 bars of A, 8 bars of B, and that gets me all the way to 33. That's my end of my A section, beginning of my B section. You could have different arrangements of this, any combination of A and B in there. If you want to add another drum beat in that section, you definitely can, but you need at least those 2. And then you get to your second section, your B section, and I've got these 2 other drum beats. So I'm going to add C, and then I'm going to add D while I'm thinking of it right now. And I think it put it right on top of each other, so I'm going to have to go add C again. There we go. So let's go ahead and do the 8 and 8, just because that sounded interesting, and I'll keep it simple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then D goes here. Scroll a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 49. And then try selecting both these. I'm going to play that over here. And paste those down. So now I've got 8 bars of C, 8 bars of D, 8 bars of C, 8 bars of D, and that takes me all the way to 64. At that point, that's all I needed for drum machine. Now, like I said, you don't have to do 8888. You could do any combination of those two drum beats, C and D, in your second section, which for musical form, we're talking about B. I wish we weren't using letters for both musical form and for the drum machine patterns, but that's what they got. So we just have to keep those separate in our heads. We're talking about numbers of drum machines and the letters that we use to order a piece of music. At this point, that's what you needed for the A, that's what you needed for the B as far as drum machine goes. You'd need other loops in there as well. Um, and then once you've got your entire A section done with your drum machine and your loops, and your entire B section with your drum machine and your loops, then you'll copy the whole thing. You want to zoom way out. Let's assume I have other loops here right now. I obviously don't, but you would draw a box around the whole thing all the way to the side. If I had more, I'd drag down to encapsulate everything. I would right click, copy, then I would right click, make sure the playhead was in the right place, right click, paste, and suddenly I've got 128 measures. And if you had other loops in there, like you're supposed to, then all of those would show up as well. Hopefully this gets you started. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to help.